Hello trainers, battlers and poker fans, welcome! Today I'm bringing you a full run of a mini league I've recently taken part in known as the Cage. Now, firstly, if you're a fan of competitive Pokemon or want to get a feel for it, I implore you to join the SSBG on Facebook, who cater to players of all skill levels and all formats, whether it's 6v6 singles, which is Smogon, there's VGC, Battlespot singles, whatever. There's someone to help you grow and have fun with it. Now, as I said, this was a mini league. I'm not going to go over the nitty gritty of a draft league in this video as a whole, just the analysis and commentary on battles for this particular mini series. So, what is the Cage? Basically, it's a 6-week double elimination snake draft in a 6v6 format, with semi-finals and finals being best of 3. So 6 weeks is the time frame. Double elimination means if you lose a match, you end up in the losers bracket, meaning you can climb your way back up to the semi-finals again. We start by picking a mascot in the snake form, which means number 1, say there's 10 people, number 1 picks all the way down to number 10, pick 10, then picks twice and back up to 1 who picks twice, up and down as you go along. So, as I mentioned, you had to have a mascot and it had to be a fighting mascot. The other 12 picks were then filled out with 3 mons from each Smogon tier, OU, UU, RU and U, with the ban list mons being the tier up, and ZU, NFE and untiered mons being able to be picked for any tier you wanted to fill. There was a total of 2 free agency swaps were allowed each week until the semis, and after each match the winner got to pick a steal if they wished. Basically, if you lost your match, your opponent could steal your Pokemon and swap it for one of theirs in the same tier. So who did I pick? Scrafty. Not only is it one of my favourite draft mons, it's also untiered, meaning I could slot this little belt missing aggro ball anywhere. Typing wise, it's 4 times weak to fairy, 4 times weak to flying, but you're not keeping any fighting type in on them anyway. I had a lot of plans for him, and his stats allow him to play several roles, as his bulk is nothing to be sniffed at, and his attack stat isn't terrible. So you could run bulk up sets, you could run iron defense stats, you could even run assault vest sets if you wanted to. Basically, he's a versatile mon. His speed isn't great, but that means you can run in and out of Trick Room quite well. And the fact that he's a free slot gave me a lot of wiggle room for the rest of the draft as well. So next, let's get into the draft itself. First I grabbed Celesteela, who is invaluable in draft. Honestly, this mon cannot be underestimated in draft format. Followed by Nidoqueen, who is pretty versatile too. Between defensive Pidgeot, Soroka, Sheer Force Monster with Life Orb. Next is Galarian Slowking, who's pretty new but has become somewhat of a demon in OU recently anyway, with its incredible special ball and good special attack. Just don't leave it in on an earthquake, ever. Next, we have Sylveon, because no draft is complete without an evolution, and Sylveon has the edge over Umbreon here by not being weak to fighting. Galarian Corsola was my 6th pick, as this ghost is almost immovable. Has a few utility moves too that will come in clutch. Next is Mance, who is a menace. No matter where he is, whether he's defogging or dealing damage, he'll have people tiptoeing around him. My next 3 are, I'm starting to get a very solid team, so I'm looking to patch a few things up. One being a bulky water. I wanted Milotic, whichever you call it, but sadly she'd already gone, and Vaporeon wasn't the best idea as I already had Sylveon, so I settled on Suicune, who can get pretty threatening after a calm mind or 2. Next I grabbed Blacephalon, as I needed someone with immediate offensive pressure, and he excels at that. Granted, if you sniff at him, he's going to get a KO. He's going to get, he's going down. He doesn't last long, but offensive pressure he definitely has. And last was Bronzong, as an alternative rocker and Trick Room mode if I felt it would be beneficial. Just generally, Bronzong is another hard to remove Pokemon. Now, my last 2 picks are Eldegoss for a rapid spin and bulky annoyance, and Melmetal just because why on earth was Melmetal not picked before? Got round to my last pick. It's just annoying. That's all I have to say about him. Like, why had he not gone? So I got him, and I cannot stress how thankful I was I had him. Anyway, with the drafting done, it's time to get into the battles. And my first match is against Matt. So here we are at round 1 versus Matt. Now as you can see, he's bought Weezing, Hawlucha, Aldino, Aegislash, why can't I remember your name, Among Us, and Azelf. Now I'll admit I laughed at this Aldino, and spoilers, I should not have. So let's get into it. Round 1, Azelf versus Corsola. I try and get up rocks, he taunts me, can't get up rocks. And that's all there is to this turn, so I just Nightshade. There's no offensive pressure here, so it's pretty free. And the second one is pretty free as well, which is good damage onto Aegislash, but negligible in the long run. So I'm still working out what sets are here, so I'll switch to see how much his damage he's dealing, which means 53% remaining. It's not a 2-hit KO, so I can just roost without issue here. And with Weezing in, switching Melmetal because it's safe, it's easy, and double Iron Bash hits everything. Now Among Us with his Rocky Helmet means I'm taking a lot more chip than I need to, although at half it's not worth me doing it again, so I send in Sylveon, not realising that Terrain is still up. Now, had I realised Terrain was still up, I would have gone into Salamence or into Nidoqueen. It would have been much better for me, because it was clear he was switching out, he can't Spore me. So I needed to put pressure on there, offensive pressure on, which Sylveon does not give out at all. So that was my first mistake. Now, my next mistake is still not giving that pressure. Like, I should have had more faith I could live that hit, and a Mystical Fire into him would have damaged him greatly. So I switch into Corsola on his King Shield, so fails, and into Scrafty to eat up this Shadow Ball. At this point, I'm not thinking about it. I think, oh yeah, you've got a, what's it called, you're all special, forgetting that he's just a fantastic mixed attacker. So I go for the substitute, and I am incredibly lucky that I am faster here. Granted, Scrafty is not a very fast Pokemon, neither is Aegislash, but he could have been outspeeding me quite easily into a close combat, which obviously it's doing far too much damage, so I can't stay in. Not a chance I can stay in here. Back out into Corsola, expecting another close combat, but he goes for King's Shield, which fails obviously. And I survive quite nicely that Shadow Ball and manage to full health back with that. Eventually get my rocks up and Aldino in, who I'm like, oh, what does this thing do? I don't know. It's Aldino. No one ever plays it seriously. But this thing has got a decent especially bulky, and Regenerator means he's always coming in full health. And this here was a mistake again on my part, because I didn't know what it did. I should have played it safer basically. Now, between Melmetal, Nidoqueen and Salamence, none of these particularly too bothered about losing their item. It's not the best, not the worst, but Nidoqueen getting knocked off here means I've got 0 damage output now. Well, not 0, but effectively I'm losing 1.5 times multiplier on it, which would have been drastically better damage against everything, as you see in the coming turns. I could have also been running Sludge Bomb to try and get poisons, but it's not going to help too much. Now here again, see that would have been a KO there if I had my Life Orb. Putting me to sleep. It's annoying, but it's no big deal. Waking up after one turn was fantastic, because Nidoqueen is little more than a sack at this point, but luckily I do survive this and I can sack her later on. And he goes back out into Aldino. And he didn't want to take another flamethrower, but still. Back in Sylveon. Again, at this point, I don't know if Sylveon or Melmetal would have been a better switch. But either way, I need a fence against this Aldino. I learned that far too late. So Sylveon loses its leftovers here, which is no big deal because I can still wish it back, as I do. We exchange wishes here, and he goes out into Aegislash, which instead of protecting a mystical fire would have been a much better idea here. It would have really helped in lowering his special attack, and it would have helped in not getting damage on him, ideally. And again, that roll there, that hurt me, that roll did, because how was that a KO? It then puts me in a much better offensive position. I'm calling better shots. I'm not playing as reactively. I get to play commandingly, but it is what it is. Audino comes back out, quick attack, not enough, that's not doing anything obviously. This quick attack was literally there to be a 2 or 3 hit KO on Howlucha if he comes out, just to stop him from getting free setups, but he plays him very well and doesn't come out. Now here, I don't know why Earthquake, I think fearing Ujumi, what's his name, coming back out. Among Us, I Earthquake, not want to take more helmet chip, but a double Iron Bass would have been better there, just in case. But I get rid of his Azelf, so I get the first KO, which is nice, but irrelevant really. Sack Nidoqueen here, which I don't know why I did, I really don't. A Shadow Ball, I'd have been better off staying in with Melmetal here, simply because his Assault Vest, he can take that hit relatively well, and he would have KO'd in return with another Earthquake. Got Salamence out, Intimidate doesn't really do much, but yeah, Flamethrower, another one of them will KO, so I'm threatening that on whoever's coming out, which is Audino again. In hindsight, I should have doubled hit, well not doubled because I just attacked, but I should have switched into Melmetal at that point, expecting Audino to come in and really punishing him for doing so, but that's foresight, not foresight for you, that's hindsight for you. So the next few rounds we're just exchanging this. I Toxic him, thinking okay, let's start getting him damaged, but as you can see he's also carrying this move, which is annoying. Heal Bell. So that means this Toxic is now a wasted move slot, because until this Audino is gone, which I can't effectively get rid of, Toxic is doing nothing to nobody. And every time Weezing comes out I can't use it anyway. Into Scrafty, which at this point is pretty close to losing the game now. Now if I had knocked off there again better, probably wouldn't have KO'd, but it would have done damage. Now substitute here after my bulk up. Now this is my misclick. I substituted again, that should have been a bulk up, and it will show you later why that has completely cost me this. Well, not completely cost me, I could still bring it back, but basically made it 10 times harder than it would have been. Get rid of my sub as I bulk up again. Now sub again, then bulk up, and I'll do this again, but had I not misclicked earlier, I could have done this once more, this little run around. I could have done it once more with the health I had left. And if I had have got that once more, you'll see in a sec, you'll get one more, so I'm at 2.5, so that's 3. This next one, that would have been a KO. And I've had a chance to either sub again or get something more off from him, but no. Instead, I'm forced into Aegislash, I'm forced into Melmetal, sorry, who just isn't offensive, who is offensive enough, sorry, but just, I'm on the back foot again, basically. So I've got to try and get myself in that position again that I lost. Luckily, I'm not taking too much from that, and I do get it disabled, meaning he has to flash cannon here, which isn't going to KO, and I can strength sap that all back nicely, but those rocks probably aren't going to gain me anything in the long run, and realistically, I need to get through this Audino before I can do absolutely anything. So my thought process is try and get him to go into Audino as I switch someone offensive in, which is now only Melmetal. I've got no other way of touching him. That crit again, another big blow. Special defense drop, another big blow. I don't know why he swapped out here, because he could have just ended saying that. No, yeah, sorry. I'm tripping over myself. Basically, he had to switch out because that flamethrower would have KO'd when he was in that position. Unless he'd gone into King Shield, but then he's just eating the hit for no reason. We know he's not carrying Shadow Sneak either. But yeah, I managed to get a roost off and he can't do much to me. Losing my boots doesn't really make a difference because he can't get rocks up anymore. But I can't damage all Dino. And he can just wish himself back to full health each round. So unless I got a crit there, or a crit soon, nothing's coming of it. You know, I'm doing what? How much? 60%? Not 60%, 40%. And he can always just go back into King's Shield to eat another hit and be in this form again for when I attack. Which he does. So again, I'm just not doing enough damage at this point. So I'm losing a lot of faith and a lot of momentum. But it's still not over. It's not over. There's still a few things I can do. Mystical Fire doesn't help him at all. This Aldino is literally just here to wish now. It's not doing anything else. But keeping Aegis / healthy is fantastic. Keeping Among Us is really good for him. Now at this point, I like this play that I did here because he's obviously going to Spore and realistically Corsola's not doing anything except for just being a switch in, eat a hit and switch back out, so taking that sleep is great on Corsola. I don't want the others asleep. So into Melmetal now. I could have Earthquaked here, I should have Earthquaked here. Instead I switch back, it's scared, but Earthquake would have been fantastic. Earthquake there would have put me in a much better position. But I do like that I get that frozen, so he can't use it anymore. Takes out my Corsola. It's a losing game now. Coming out into Sylveon. Obviously, Mystical Fire into nothing. But because I am slower here, his Flash Cannon does a decent amount, but doesn't KO, whereas I KO in return. And he's got a few choices to make. Now, had this quick attack again, had that KO'd, I'd have been in a better position because this wouldn't have happened. If this didn't happen, it meant when he come out, I get 2 hits on him before, which was a roll to KO. But because of the memento, it definitely wasn't KO in 2 hits, which was annoying. So out comes Melmetal, out comes a close combat to end it, and that is me into the losers bracket. And we're back again with Battle 2. Now this is Poker Technician, also known as Steven, and he's bought Lele, Komo-O, Helios, Keldeo, Moltres and a Alolan Persian. Again, another fantastic battler from the group. And this is the losers bracket, so let's get into it. So I start off, it's Nidoqueen versus Helios, which is a great position for me. Granted he paralyses me, but it's neither here nor there. Earthquake, Sash. So now I get to chuck some rocks up as he goes into Moltres. Now my only attacking move is that Earthquake, so there's nothing I can do here except Toxic, which is useful for later. And then switching out into Corsola Galar, who cannot be touched by pretty much anything on his team except for maybe Snarls on this and Shadow Ball on Lele. He brings out his Persian, I go into Scrafty, I get an Intimidate off, taunts me, which doesn't really matter. This Scrafty is slightly different in I'm running Rocky Helmet with Drain Punch to get my HP back. Other than that, same thing. Bring out Suicune here, which, to be honest, was a bit of a mistake. This was a mistake here because I should have Calm Mind before Substitute. Might have helped. And Secret Sword's just going to take it away in one anyway. I'm not really gaining anything from it. The second one here is pretty greedy, but I do need it to do anything. But I should have Exosensory there and not here. And that would have broke the sub last turn, giving me another chance to attack, getting some damage on someone else coming in. But sending Corsola because, I mean, all he's got is Scald that can hurt me, and it's not going to be doing anything. Even with Calm Mind Boost, it's not doing enough damage to be an issue, really. So Calm Mind's up, and this exchange is going to go on for a little while because it's going to take 3 or 4 attempts for the Hex to actually break this sub, but he's not exactly threatening a KO anytime soon. So back and forth, calm minding, scolding, hazing, hexing. I'll break the sub, and then I can go out into Eldegoss, who really threatens Keldeo. I didn't realise like how clutch this mon was actually going to be. Giga Drain here doesn't do anything to calm out. Now here's where I make a slight mistake, as I go for, he goes for the sub, and I think I'm in no problem. I go for an aromatherapy and cure everything, not realising that in this draft league we hadn't stipulated no omni boosting. Now I was expecting belly drum at worst, so I could just go and haze it, because if he belly drums, he's got substitute, belly drum, then he's going to be close combat and another move, which I'm pretty sure I could eat that one hit and haze away upon bringing him out. But no, it's Clangorous Soul, is it called? Or yeah, Clangorous Soul, which is omni boosting, so one of everything goes up, and it means that I need to get rid of him as soon as possible. Aura Sphere is special, so just a decent chunk. Get rid of his sub, and I do an okay amount of damage, but because I am Lorb, I KO myself in return. But as I said, I'm not really fearing much from him, so I can go out, live the hit, Strength Sap to get it all back, drop his attack, not that it matters, and then I can haze away the rest. So he's low health with absolutely no stat boosts. He's not going to be able to sweep me anymore. As you can see, the damage is now negligible, and I can do what I did with Keldeo, just keep hexing till it's gone and not have to worry. Swaps out into Helios, which obviously is normal electric, immune to the hex, but while he glares me, I just Will-O-Wisp, and that will take him out. So we're 1 for 1 now, although I think he's got more value from me than I have him at the moment. So Icy Winds aren't doing enough to do any meaningful damage, where I am quite threatening back. So I've got my health back, Giga Drain again, Carmel coming back in, or he can setting up a tub, or he can try and attack, which he sets up a sub here. We're going to need a queen, and I'm going to get a big hefty earthquake off. Break his sub, and there's nothing he can do now except someone is going to take this earthquake unless he goes into Moltres. That crit was kind of annoying, but in the long run it didn't make too much of a difference. So he goes into Keldeo, we go out into Eldegoss. He hasn't got that good of a switch in for Giga Drain anymore, except for this Moltres, which I can quite comfortably go out into would have quite comfortably gone out into Suicune if it wasn't for the fact I was low health with no way of getting it back except leftovers. He goes out into Lele. At this point with Moltres I don't have to worry, so I'll just let Suicune go down and come out into Corsola, who's going to live pretty much anything. Get a Will-O-Wisp off onto the Persian, so I'm not stressing here. Back out into Eldegoss, who again can just do what he does. All these little Giga Drains are useful. Into Scrafty, who, I mean, it's not a great switch, but it's a good enough switch. He U-turns, does a bit of damage, gets hurt by Rocket Helmet. Out into Persian as I substitute. Now I know I can just take my health back with this Drain Punch, even if his Snarl does go through substitute, doesn't matter. And I get my health back, well, a little bit of health back behind a sub, which means I can quite comfortably go for a knockoff. Not that it matters, he doesn't need to lose his boots anymore, he's going to go out to Toxic next round. There's a Mystical Fires my Corsola, gets it disabled, doesn't matter, dies to Toxic Poisoning. Tapu Lele comes out, back into Keldeo, so I'm going to get a Strength Sap off, so I'm going to get some recovery. Back into Eldegoss, because Keldeo, he can't sweep anymore, no matter what he does. Even that crit, Ice down to 46, it's not a 2-hit KO unless he gets another crit, which doesn't matter with me getting my health back through not Strength Sap, Giga Drain. And out into Lele, which he then clicks Psychic, which is a big mistake on his behalf, seeing as he is now choice locked into that. I'm skating for the choice lock, and that confirms it. He is choice locked. So Scrafty wins every single time. Nothing he can do. Can't touch me. He gets disabled, which means he's got to struggle. And we finish it off nicely with a hex. And that's game 2. So we're back into round 3 now. This one was against Joe, the big croak, and as you can see, he's starting off with Azelf versus my Nidoqueen. Now, if you remember before, we've already fought Azelf against Matt, so that is where the steals come in, because Matt has ended up going out earlier to some, we shall say, hacks as they're called, and so it's ended up Joe's got Azelf now, so let's get into it. First move, I get Stealth Rocks up, Intimidate Azelf as he goes for a Flamethrower. He is Life Orb, sends in his Clefable, so I get to knock off the Clefable. No more leftovers for him. Send out Blacephalon. He's not going to take too much from that being but it's still annoying. And we take him out. We get +1, which is great. Crowdaunt is going to do a lot of damage, so we switch him out no matter what he does. Knock off, get rid of my Scarf, and he's going to Aqua Jet, so he's got another Life Orb. Send out Eldegoss, send out Azelf again, who's going to Flamethrower at some point, but he goes for the Shadow Ball, which we don't take too much from. Get the Giga Drain off, let me get most of that back. Goes for a Flamethrower, super effective. Luckily we don't die to that, and we get the KO in return. So as you can see, this one's a much faster paced match. Sends Scrafty back out into Heracross. Goes for a knockoff. It's not going to do anything to us, but close combat will KO. But he switches him out into Gardevoir, who's going to threaten with Moonblast. I go for a substitute, meaning I can always live 1. And we get a knockoff off. So now lost her choice specs. Send out Melmetal, which is a quite nice and easy double Iron Bash. Taking a fair bit, but this one is a much faster game. One close combat is going to end me, but he doubles. So I send Scrafty back out. Get an Intimidate off, which is always useful. Drain Punch. Luckily that gets a KO and gives me back to 59%, so I'm in a really good position here now. Goes for the close combat, it's going to KO me, but at this point there's not much he can do, so I might as well get his defences down. Here comes Latios into my Flamethrower. It's not going to do too much. We send Celesteela out into the Draco Meteor, which is negligible damage. It does, what, 38%. Get my leftovers recovery. Autonomatize, double my speed. I'm lighter, not that the lighter really makes a difference here because I'm not running that thingy. And we go for an Air Slash, taking out Heracross. Get the Beast Boost. Still faster than me, which is surprising. Well, it's not surprising because I'm not particularly that fast, but Air Slash takes out the Latios. Well, doesn't take him out. Nearly does. Double Air Slash, and that is game. And I'm feeling pretty confident. Now, afterwards, I did speak with Joe, and to put bluntly, he knew he didn't play as well as he could in this match. He'd had a bit of things going on, but he is a fantastic battler nonetheless. I just had the upper hand in what was going on this day. So don't judge him on that match. It was fun, but that's that. And now we're at the quarterfinals, or the equivalent of. It was basically, this was to get out the losers bracket and to face either Neil. Was it Neil? I think it was Neil next. And then, I mean, he ended up going on to fight in the finals, which is coming up soon. But let's get into the battle. So he's brought Buzzwole, who he had to, Alakazam, this demon thing here, which I will remember its name eventually, Weavile, Starmie, Nia Lego Boy, and Tyrantrum. Now, I already know he likes to play Tyrantrum Scarf, so I had that information already, luckily, but it didn't help much. So in we go. It's Starmie versus my Corsola. So he's going to flip turn right out, which is just going to give me free amnesia setup. Reroll coming in, he's going to threaten a knockoff, so I'll get my rocks up. Knockoff, it doesn't bother me too much, I am very defensive. Strength sap means he's never going to KO me. And Tyrantrum comes in. So I get a Will-O-Wisp off on this Tyrantrum, which I know is scarred, but that's going to be so useful. That miss doesn't really matter at this point, but it is what it is. At the moment, this isn't doing any amount of damage. So out comes Alakazam, I switch into Scrafty. He switches back out into Buzzwole. I switch back out into Clefable. Now Heligo, a bit of switching going here. Calm Mind up. So his Sludge Bomb is doing all of 60%. So I know this one won't KO after Jimmy Flop leftovers, but he went for the Meteor Beam, which again didn't KO. Oh, it upped his special attack, but soft boiled. I am setting myself up for a clean sweep here. It is going to be beautifully glorious because he can no longer touch me. I am untouchable. My Clefable is going to sweep through the whole team. So we send in Tyrantrum and I choke. Because of this, I forget Tyrantrum is burned. I send in Scrafty, who is my answer to Tyrantrum. Head Smash does nothing and takes a bit of burn damage. And that is when I threw it basically. So I've knocked off his helmet, which helps me a little bit. But had I just left Clefairy in, it would have been a clean sweep. Everything would have dropped by this point. But instead we're having to play around again. And he gets disabled, uses Side Shock, takes me out. Sorry, I'm missing a few rounds here. Clefable comes back out. He goes into Weavile. Soft boiled up. Back out into Eldegoss, just in case. Icicle Crash does a lot. And that basically just ends him in one. No need to worry. It's looking like it's going to be a 6-0 for Jayme. Tyrantrum comes back into my Melmetal, who gets a double Iron Bash, which is pretty much irrelevant here. So now it's a 5-0 now. Buzzwole comes back out. Go back out into Clefable. Might be able to set myself back up. We'll see. Starmie comes out. Calm Mind up once. Flip turn, crits, crit out into Weavile, takes more damage. 2, now. Icicle Crash, does a sizable amount, soft boiled, get it all back. And then he misses. Calm Mind up again. Icicle Crash, not doing anything there. Moonblast takes him out. Nothing more to say about that. Alakazam comes out. Psyshock does far too much for my liking. I don't quite get the KO, which would have been nice. Send Scrafty out. As he Psyshocks again, but being immune means I get this. But means Clefairy can no longer come back in, and I need Clefairy basically. Out comes Nidoqueen onto the Earthquake, super effective. I survive it. And I get my Flamethrower into Starmie, which is doing nothing, as you can see. Back out into Scrafty. Hydro Pump does a sizable amount. It's 2-hit KO. All I can bank on now is a miss, which I don't get. And Scrafty goes down. Clefable comes out. Hydro Pump, another KO. And this is where the sweep happens. Melmetal out into Buzzwole. No point him staying in. Double Iron Bash, not going to pick up a KO. Out into Nidoqueen. He's just going to roost it off. Back into Nihilego. Sludge Bomb, it's not going to do enough. Sucker Punch, not enough. Thunderbolt, doesn't do it, but that Sucker Punch tech was great. But it also allows Alakazam to set up, and knowing fully well I'm going to run out of Sucker Punches before he runs out of recovers and Calm Minds. And that is game 1. As you can see how it goes for the next few. This goes on and on and on. And then he's at +6. And I drop like nothing. And on to game 2. So as I said, these were all best of 3s. Music off. Let's get into it. Same teams. And because of last time, I end up doing something silly this time. Eldegoss does okay here. Giga Drain, doing okay. Can't hurt me that much again, but he's going to Icicle Crash if anything. Into Corsola, who's going to take that pretty well. That gets disabled. Back out into Eldegoss as he knocks off, which isn't going to do it as much as it did last time. Ice Shard nearly takes me out. Cotton Guard doesn't matter. I'm done for anyway. So disable ended. Ring out Clefable. Icicle Crash doing 61. I think, you know what? I'll just set up here. Flinch doesn't matter. This is my mindset. I'm going to win with Clefable, but I don't get a chance to set up. Forces him out. Sludge Bomb into Corsola, which is nice. That gets disabled. Gonna Meteor Beam and get his special attack rise. Misses, which is nice, but pretty irrelevant at this point. Sends out his Weavile. Get a Will-O-Wisp on the Weavile, which is nice. But again, I'm in a super reactive state here. I need to get momentum back into my favour, but I'm just not going to. That's how this goes. Sandstrap, he's got awful attack, so I get nothing back. Into Clefable. Shadow Ball, it's not doing anything. I'm going to get my sweep here. Psyshock means I can't. I needed to get rid of Alakazam first. Psyshock again for the KO. And that's it, that's game. Buzzwole comes out into Melmetal, not much I can do here. Double into Nidoqueen. He doubles into Weavile. Earth Power finishes him off. I was expecting someone else to come in, but at this point I don't have... Well, I've still got Scrafty for a thingy, but he's not great. Corsola goes down. Scrafty comes out. No good against this. No good against this, really. It's literally his best attack is to go against Tyrantrum. Sludge Bomb's doing too much. And I've got no way past Buzzwole now either. So Tyrantrum comes out, but I mean, he's running close combat, which I didn't account for. I assumed it would just be head smash and nothing else. So that is it. That is game. Nothing I can do to come back now except play around his sucker punches again. But there's no point predicting it. Might be able to bring it back, but I don't. Blind Bash into Buzzwole. Not enough. He's just going to roost it off, and I can't knock it off. That's a wasted Protect as I get my recovery back. And it's just one thing after another. I am not getting through this. Close combat takes out the Nidoqueen. Nothing I could do. Double close combat closes out the game. Not quite. Melmetal's a lot tankier than I remembered, but still I haven't got the ability to deal with these two, so that is game. Drain Punch, it's going to be enough. Body Press, no, I ain't near enough. That's it. That's game. And that was me going out. Now, upon reflection, I know I could have played these last two games a lot better. I could have played the first one a lot better, and I spoke about that. But that is my analysis, and I hope you've enjoyed. Please leave a like, a subscribe, and hopefully I'll be getting more and more content as I'm currently running in the DLC League, which is another draft. I'm spreading myself thin with drafts, but I do love drafts. Thank you.